Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffing.com, CardHoarder.com, Alter Sleeves, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters just like you. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Reuben Bressler.
What's up? This beard is looking crazy. I apologize to everybody for what I am.
And I sound a little rough this week. I had a kidney stone. I had told the story in the pre-show. If you're a patron or a subscriber, you could have heard that earlier. And it sucked. The short version is that it really sucked. And it messed up my throat for a little while. And this is just how I'm going to sound like. I'm sorry. But if you do, that's our pre-show subscribers to this channel get access to our NSFW version early, and we kick it off with our first pick and our giveaway. Get your chance of $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffing.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win and support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. That, of course, thanks to CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. And we are in the second week of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Roundup. And I got to tell you, man, I think this set is looking sweet as hell.
Yeah, the set looks really cool. I just love the motif of old versus new. Mm-hmm. They have, in much the same way that they did with the first Innistrad, they've leaned into the memes, mm-hmm.
which
I appreciate. I always think that Wizards is at its best when it doesn't take itself too seriously. Mm-hmm. And it's goofy. And it's fun and funny, and I'm just in love.
Nice. I like a lot of the new interesting things. My favorite so far being the companion mechanic. I think that's super sweet, and the art is just awesome. Even the non-card art and the promotional art that we're seeing, like the one of the 5 dragons in the city, stuff like that, it's just gorgeous.
The companion mechanic? What do you mean? Which one?
I don't know exactly what the official name was. I kind of forgot, but it's the equipment is now can attack on its own.
Reconfigure.
Where the little companion can suit up, but also be a little dude.
Oh, well, that kind of segues perfectly now, doesn't it?
Nice.
Into my preview card I want to talk about this week. It's not a preview card. One of the previewed cards was Blade of the Oni. Man, I'm always excited when I see low mana cost mythics. I'm like, what you gonna do now? For a black and a generic mana, it's a 3/1 mythic artifact creature equipment demon. Artifact creature equipment demon. It has menace. An equipped creature has base power and toughness 5/5, has menace, and has a black demon in addition to its other colors and types, and it has reconfigure for 2 black and 2 generic mana. That means you can attach a target creature you control or unattach from a creature, reconfigure only as a sorcery, and while attached, this isn't a creature. So it's like the best freaking reconfigure card ever? ?
It's real good. I mean, 3/1 menace for 2 is good enough.
It's already
period.
Up there on the aggro side.
But now and also if you draw a second one, you can put this on the first one and then just go to town. Like this card is very real and can make black aggro get on
contender.
The map.
Was this not legendary?
No.
No.
Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah, it's an
the
artifact
type line's
creature.
not big enough.
Yeah.
That right?
Wow, that's insane. So yeah, earlier when I misspoke because I'm a limited player, so the word companion is not really like drilled into my head.
Okay.
So it never really occurred to me that you guys would have not known what I was talking about when I was talking about little squirrels.
Right.
Gotcha.
Now, the other great thing about Reconfigure is that it's actually secretly Wrath Protection. I'm not even sure if it's secretly Wrath Protection, but when it's an equipment and then it falls off, it just becomes a creature again, but it doesn't get swept up in the Wrath of God.
Right.
So it's this card is insane even without all of the extra bonuses after the first word of the text box.
Right, but it's like bestow, but it's like super bestow. It's bestow that you can give, take away, you can give it, you can take it away, you can give it. Like that type of flexibility is absolutely huge. And when like we're coming off of Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, which I felt like their mechanics were kind of meh. I wasn't super excited about a lot of the mythics and the ideas going on. I am super excited about ninjutsu coming back. Cards like this, the reconfigure, being really interesting and exciting, and a lot of really cool build around me's that I've seen that I just didn't see in the last couple sets. So, Reuben, what is the card you want to talk about?
I want to talk about, I'm always excited when there is a new legendary creature that does something that no other legendary creature has ever done before, and interacts with cards, really, that no other legendary creature has ever done before. And we've gotten our first Saga commander, and that is Satsuki the Living Lore. Satsuki is a green and a white for legendary creature human druid, who's a 1/3, and has the following abilities. Tap, put a lore counter on each saga you control, activate only as a sorcery. And then when Satsuki the Living Lord dies, you choose one. Either return target saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand, or return target saga from your graveyard to your hand. So for the low cost of 2 mana, you get a way to fast forward your sagas. You get a way to rebuy later sagas. And because it's a death trigger on a 2-drop, multiples are also pretty good.
Yeah, this card is freaking dope, and the ability to manipulate sagas is not something we've seen a lot of. I'm trying to think of, like, there's been proliferate or whatever, but not so much let's go talk about sagas on the card.
Yeah. There was a common in Dominaria that said when you attacked, you put a lore counter on each saga you control. That's about it. That specifically referenced lore counters. This one being able to not have to target, but do it for all your things, either before or after combat, and also being able to get the value back again, because, you know, they are fleeting, they are ephemeral, they disappear at some point, and so being able to reset those sagas and get those earlier abilities again is pretty great.
Yeah, I like the idea of getting to manipulate lore counters in some way, and I think there's a lot of possibility there when it comes to, like, controlling time. You could easily have some pretty flavorful cards where you're reversing the clock, right? And you get to go back through the story. I think that's a really cool place to explore.
And also think of how many sagas turn into creatures in this set.
Right.
So, like, to be able to accelerate those into the creatures that they can be is generally pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nerd Girl, what's your preview or previewed card you want to talk about?
All right, so to stick with the theme of my dog previews and my dog cards from the previous week, we're going to go ahead and go with the new Commander card that was spoiled, and that's Yoshimaru, Ever Faithful. This 1-mana legendary dog creature says whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. And then it has partner, and it says you may have 2 commanders if they both have partner. So this can be a legendary commander in addition to your regular commander. And I also wanted to point out the flavor text, because all of the dog flavor text is always done very well. And it says, day after day, he sat there knowing that the wanderer would soon be back for him.
Oh my goodness.
The saddest.
It hit the feels.
I'm excited for the Seymour altar from whichever altarist decides to put Fry's dog from Futurama onto Yoshimaru. Yeah, this is, it's a lot of great things. I mean, this is there's the link. It's the reference to Hachik, the good boy from real life. It's a reference to Isamaru, which was a 1-drop legendary dog from the first Kamigawa. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Hachiko was a Japanese Akita dog remembered for his remarkable loyalty to his owner, for whom he continued to wait for over 9 years following his owner's death. And there is a bronze statue that stays there to this day, as far as I know. So that's heartbreaking. Just absolutely incredible. So one thing that I had to point out, there is a Hatsune Miku, what do they call it? A vocal, something like a vocal, what do they call it?
Performance?
Well, it's a specific word. Like, let me find it. A Vocaloid, as I recall. Thank you very much, chat. So it's a Vocaloid, which is like a song that's sang by this anime character. And the song is like actually a banger. Like, give it like 30 seconds and then it just like turns on and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's real good.
You should check it out. Notes, the show notes will have a link to it for you. But I was just shocked that they went there, honestly.
Yeah, they're leaning into it, right? Like, this is what they should have done more of with Kaldheim and the heavy metal.
Yeah.
if they had done another, I mean, they did some of this,
some of it, right? But like,
but they sort of pumped the brakes on leaning into the goofiness.
Right.
This is like, get the VTubers involved, right? Like, we've got the Buster Sword on a card.
Yeah.
Like, we've got JoJo lines on cards.
You
are already dead.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's just go completely hog wild. And getting a Japanese VTuber celebrity to make a Vocaloid for your Magic set, that's going pretty hard.
It's what they should have done the whole time.
Yeah. It's great.
All right, so we move out of the first pick to gather the townsfolk. All right, bring this up here. And that's thanks to our sponsor, cardhoarder.com. Offer the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. And Magic Online is doing something, honestly, that's pretty freaking great. To celebrate Black History Month, that's February. You can score the entire Secret Lair Black as Magic drop by simply playing Magic. Each week in February, they'll keep tabs on accounts that simply play and finish an entire game each week. Doesn't matter what it is.
Wow.
Pauper League, play Innistrad Double Feature, Kamigawa Draft, Commander Game, whatever. Just play once a week, and they will ship those cards to you after the month is over. Best I can tell.
Wait. Ship physical?
No. You'll get them in your Magic Online account.
Oh, I was like, as soon as you said ship, I was like, whoa.
Right.
This is not what I thought this was.
Physically, no, they will digitally
they will put
ship.
digital objects into your online mailbox.
You will earn
Gotcha.
free NFTs.
Right.
That you can do what you want with.
I was about to go dig up my password.
Right.
But it's cool. Like, I mean, going
Still
back.
very cool.
Yeah, I went back to play the Cube recently, and it's still a very jarring experience, but it's also Magic, and it's still the greatest game ever. So there you go. Let me get these up on the screen here for a second. Reuben, tell us about the Judge promos real quick.
Oh, the Judge promos for Q1 of 2022 are just spectacular. We've got some, of course, the promos that the judges get have, long been a subject of consternation, but also of envy. And this time around, we have No Mercy, which I think is the first one, which is a very popular commander card, as well as Omniscience, another, popular, not really in Commander so much as in Eternal formats. And then a card that may have been sneaking up on you in terms of its value, Greater Oromancy.
Oh my God.
Which just kind of out of nowhere is $60. And so it desperately is in need of a reprint, and this is a good spot for it.
Yeah, so here is the No Mercy. Again, that's a $40+ card because they just haven't reprinted it.
Yeah.
Omniscience, which is always $1 million, which is absolutely gorgeous. And the Greater Oromancy, which is one of those, like, it's worth what cards?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at.
No Mercy, of course, featuring Marchesa, Queen Marchesa on it, which is very fitting considering her use of the Dethrone mechanic and the Monarch mechanic. Very good use of the card No Mercy.
If you wish to assassinate a master assassin, you'll have to do better than that.
That's some good flavor text.
That is
All
some
three of
excellent.
these cards are very well chosen. The art is beautiful. I'm actually a little surprised that they are doing the Judge promos right now, just considering that we're not really having events that are officially Wizards sanctioned. There's no OP.
I recognize that they don't want the program to just wither and die, right? Because at some point we will be back to pseudo normal / normal, eventually total normal, and we will need judges for events.
And the Judge promo program is as a thank you / payment to the judges of the program.
Right.
So they still have to pay yearly dues. So even if there aren't events happening, they're still going to get whatever the membership gets them. Because if these went away, I imagine membership would drop off. And then when events do get back to some semblance of normal, there just won't be judges.
And
so this is a good way to keep people invested.
Yeah, and this is Judge Academy, not Wizards, for what it's worth, because Wizards got rid of it and they swooped in. So
I am being corrected. They're not just mailed to you for paying your dues. You do have to attend conferences, which, you should still be attending conferences for if you're a referee or a judge for anything, you still need to go to class.
So when you say that Wizards isn't doing them, so these are proxies?
Well, no, they're producing them. It's just that they are being distributed by the Judge Academy, and they're going through that channel basically. It's not directly from Wizards anymore.
They are official Magic cards.
They're official Magic
but
cards.
Wizards is still having to go through the hoops of producing products with the idea of it being a Judge promo in mind, and that's all I'm surprised about with.
Yeah, true.
What Wizards has been doing with OP and stuff. Yeah,
considering how. Little they seem to care about the Judge program even before the pandemic.
Yeah. It feels like there's an advocate on the inside and they're still fighting the good fight, And that's why you see stuff like, I guess these are, again, big money cards that they did not have to give them. They could have made cool versions of something else,
These could have all just been the next secret lair.
Right.
So we appreciate you, whoever it is who's taking care of the judges.
Absolutely.
Inside or outside of Wizards. You guys are great.
There you go. So there is a brand new president of Wizards of the Coast, and that is Cynthia Williams. And they will be joined by Tim Fields as Senior Vice President and General Manager of Digital Gaming. This, much like previous presidents of Wizards of the Coast, I have never met. And honestly, I've never heard anything sort of from this person. Chris Cox, at least, sort of came from Xbox and Microsoft, and you heard some stuff about that. But, maybe she was just kind of promoted in within, and off she went.
So Cynthia Williams is coming from a similar line as Chris Cox, which is she came from Microsoft.
Oh, I see. Joins from Microsoft. You're right. I'm sorry.
She was a executive at Microsoft for more than a decade, and that appears to be the pipeline.
Nice. Well, there you go. And it's understandable, right? Chris Cox has relationships and knows people from Microsoft that he would want to bring into the fold, and something digital, something money.
Yeah. If you want to, with Chris Cox being the new head honcho, makes sense for another insider and friend of that sort of group of coworkers, I would assume, to get put together.
Interesting. Okay. All right, fair enough. Blake mentioned, the Maverick Girl mentions here in the chat, Blake did mention that they're working on OP stuff right now, but don't have anything to announce today. My cynicism at this point is just absolutely through the roof. You gotta really show me you want to do something, or we're just wasting our time at this point. And
you kind of had a little bit of a different opinion a few weeks back when we were talking about the new head of OP, or I don't forget the new edition, title.
Right? Well, Huey got added, and look, I just want them to revert back to all the old stuff, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
But you were really excited about what you thought Huey could get done.
I am excited. I remain hopeful and excited about what he can do. I am cynical about what might actually result of it.
Welcome to Magic Mike's, where Evan Irwin tells you that things were better 10 years ago.
I didn't say they were better 10 years ago, but they were different, and sometimes good, sometimes bad. All right, as we move on to Desperate Ravings, check out our altar sleeves at altersleeves.com. Support the show by using the code MAGICMIKES at checkout for 5% off anything in the store, including a set of exclusive sleeves featuring the Magic Mike's crew at altersleeves.com/MagicMikes. We are going to send out codes for free sleeves to every single one of our patrons. We'll send that out probably in the next 2 or 3 days. So if you are a patron, look for that. If you're not a patron, patreon.com/MagicMike. Support the show. We're here to bring you that magic news week in and week out. And it's not always good news because, unfortunately, January 2022 was the worst month for Magic streaming since the launch of Arena. And Nerd Girl, this is you. This is your wheelhouse. What's going on?
Yeah, my viewership has tanked a little bit. Now, I kind of attribute that a little bit to it being the end of a season. And at the end of a season, I also start to do a little bit more variety. So it's a little harder to tell how much of, that drop in viewership is my Magic streams being mixed with my variety streams, just lowering the overall average. But I will say, Constructed in general, I think is taking a bigger hit. I think that the Alchemy, I thought or a lot of people thought would, diversify the streaming community a little bit and add more content to the table. But the overall appeal of Alchemy is just so low. Standard feels pretty bad. I think Historic, people are kind of boycotting Historic because of those Alchemy changes coming into it. So those players are feeling hurt and attacked. And I think the overall, viewership is just very unhappy. And they don't want to come see us. And most of us are also unhappy. So it just ends up being kind of a chat room full of unhappiness playing a game that everybody's a little upset about. So I definitely understand it. It's weird that not only was this the lowest month, right, since Arena's launch, it was the 3 consecutive lowest months, and they've been going down each month. So that's disappointing.
When I first saw this story, I was like, it's the worst month. And I was like, okay, I get it. We're right before Neon Dynasty. There was a huge break between sets. People are kind of bored with most of the constructed formats.
True.
But then, like you said, it's been going down for 3 months, which means it was going down with the Innistrad sets.
Yeah. So 3 months ago, we had the worst month since launch. And that was when we had Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt pretty much back to back.
Yeah.
In what would be arguably one of the most beloved planes in Magic. So you would think that would have shot viewership way higher because people love Innistrad. They love the feeling of the gothic horror and all of that. But nope, it really didn't.
So why? Let's do an autopsy here. What?
Hold on.
Obviously, there's a perfect storm happening of multiple things happening.
Well, what I would say is that as someone who has been with Arena from the get-go, pulled the strings to try to get into the alpha type stuff, I have never played such little Historic as I have since Alchemy has come out. I just haven't. Whether it's between the cards that they nerfed, Luminous Aspirant or whatever, that, really didn't need to be nerfed in that format. It just kind of feels bad and it feels weird. So what Alchemy did was half of exactly what I wanted Wizards to do. And the other half is exactly what I would never want them to do, because the first half is Alchemy is they're fixing standard cards. That to me was what Wizards always wanted. They always wanted the ability to release something and kind of tweak it and make it sort of the right way, or make something interesting. Like the dungeon decks got really interesting when they power those up, and that's cool. That's awesome. That's always what I always wanted. I was go and change your stuff and let's make the best client. Let me play with Oko, right? But don't go make 25, 30 cards or whatever that are very powerful in some instances, and then you later have to revert them back. And so that also feels bad. And instead of bringing in all of these cards to make the Pioneer format, you're literally telling us that instead of bringing in these 100+ cards that would make the whole damn format run, you would rather add 100 digital only cards that we can't get through drafts, that we can't get through in-game rewards or whatever. And that's just a gigantic feel bad and a huge money sink. And on top of that, changing those cards because you got those wrong when you're trying to fix the standard cards from in the first place. Isn't that weird? They're kind of making a whole new problem by trying to solve a problem by trying to make a bunch of money. And all of that feels terrible as a player. All of that feels terrible.
Now, that would explain the viewership going down, but it would also explain usage going down.
Yeah.
But usage isn't going down.
Do we know that?
I guess we don't know that.
I mean,
you know what? Fair. We don't know that.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I just know that, I know there's a lull between sets that's normal. And I right now I'm playing a lot of Historic Brawl, because what I kind of do at the end of the season is I kind of go through the legendary creatures of the set and build some Brawl decks, and that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But again, overall, I don't have any interest in playing Historic. I don't know why they included Alchemy cards in there. You can say it's a digital only format, but perceptions are reality. And the perception was, Historic was the legacy. Historic was the modern of the client. And you let it kind of run wild, and you didn't put restraints on it. And
I think that once they introduce another paper format to
Pioneer.
Arena, what was that?
Pioneer.
Yeah, once they introduce Pioneer.
Yeah.
Or they just say paper Historic is a format. Pick one of the two. then things will go back to normal. Things will be fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the decision for Alchemy to lead into Historic because it always made sense and that was always the plan. I think it's very, very unfair of them to make that transition without adding Pioneer first.
Mm-hmm.
It should have happened simultaneously, or Pioneer should have came first and then transition Historic into it. Like if you didn't want to have the two new formats having bugs and crashes and all of that stuff, I totally understand. But we should have had regular Historic and Pioneer side by side, very little difference, and then push Historic into it. And that was, I think, a big misstep and part of the reason why people are so unhappy. Real quick, I kind of zoned out for a quick second there. I wanted to give you guys some info on my stats. I looked up my last 3 months and the 3 months prior to that for only Magic stats.
Okay.
And my viewership has dropped 50 concurrent. It went from it's 302 for the last 3 months, and it was like 360-ish for the previous 3 months. So not a ton,
but that's almost 20%. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say that for Magic Mike's, our live viewership has also dropped off.
Yeah, when I started
about that much.
When I started the show, it was like 1 to 110, and I was like hoping it's not me.
No,
I hope you guys
not
don't.
you.
Think so, no.
I mean,
it's just and Magic, stories, Magic, drama comes and goes, so that will flow with that. But either way, there comes a point where, like the sets were kind of underwhelming for Innistrad, and the alchemy stuff leaves such a bad taste in your mouth if you're not willing to spend cash money on the client. That it's kind of a storm of just like, man, this just kind of all feels terrible. And you contrast it with Yu-Gi-Oh! And their new client is terrific. And they literally just got on mobile, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after launch? It took Arena years or whatever. Like, that type of competition I think is super duper healthy. And we're literally seeing why. Hopefully it makes Wizards go, holy crap, maybe we shouldn't, diddle doll around and try to make these digital things and make a bunch of money off of it instead of getting the cards that people love into the damn client so they can play the games and the decks that they want to.
I mean, Magic finally got its crap together when Hearthstone happened.
Maybe we should stop skinning our sheep so we have some sheep left.
Yep.
That would be a good idea.
Because other people are looking at us all naked and they're like, let me try this over here.
Yeah, my the next story here I meant to actually be in Desperate Ravens. I just messed that up. Kind of tangentially, I would argue, is very much related. GoatBots, which is a series of bots on Magic Online, announced that a Magic Online has gained a lot of players since December. Many arena players are giving Magic Online a try. This has resulted in higher event ticket and card prices, and the treasure chest expected value has increased, which is awesome. And somehow we've gone full circle to Magic Online is bad. Right. Everyone hate Magic Online. It's complete trash. Arena's the hot new stuff. Just go play Arena. Magic Online.
Right.
High-waisted pants are in again.
Right. Vinyl outsells CDs.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to play Luminarch Aspirant as it's intended, then you got to go to Magic Online. It's not terribly surprising. It's where you can play Pioneer. Nobody wants to play
and modern
Alchemy.
And legacy and vintage and affordable even.
Another part of this might be because I have members of my team who are arena streamers and got started into Magic during the pandemic and have only played these formats, but none of the stores, none of the I live really close to Mox Boarding House and a bunch of other things. They are not running standard or anything. They're not running standard Pioneer. The only things they're running is modern, scarcely, and a ton of legacy. So if you want to play any paper, you need to get into those older formats because that's the only thing that's firing.
That's
so you
the
might
Pacific
have
Northwest.
Right, no, but even down here, I mean, there are events having issues firing, or there are stores that are like burning money, offering big prizes for small turnouts because they're just trying to get butts and seats or whatever. Event turnout, again, anecdotally, I don't know, but anecdotally, I've heard that event turnout has been a struggle all around the U.S. Obviously, I hope it's not so, but just knowing from the stores that cool stuff has, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is gonna tell the story. So, Chris Cox has access to the big ledger now. Mm-hmm. He can look at the numbers and see if what he's doing is actually working or if it's all smoke and mirrors, right? If it's skinning the sheep, as you mentioned. Because when you take short-term gain, you get long-term pain. And if he notices that, and Cynthia Williams notices that, then maybe we'll revert to some of the older methods.
Now, they go on here and they say they don't have account creation data on Magic Online, nor any data on Arena, nor would I expect them to. But they say they do have trade data. And for example, accounts trading with us for the first time, that number has tripled in January compared to November. And that's a big deal. That's a shift. And honestly, it just says that those who, really stuck it out with Magic Online these past 3 or 4 years, kind of getting rewarded for doing so. Like, people are coming back around and be like, hey, it's a little rudimentary, but it's Magic.
And it functions.
And it functions. Nice. I can't play Vintage Cube anywhere else, like, let alone in the middle of a pandemic, right? This client has it. It all works. It's ugly as hell, but that's our option. So let's go. So let's move on here and turn the corner. Unless you guys definitely want to talk about an old border Black Lotus. I don't much care.
It's interesting. I kind of want to talk about it.
All right, let's go. So there was a promo, right? In Duel Masters. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a Duel Masters promo that came out that was a old border, quote unquote, alternate art frame treatment on Black Lotus, which is a Duel Masters card.
Right.
But then they made it look like a Magic card. They made it look like the card Black Lotus from Magic the Gathering. Now, the text box is different. The border is different. There's no casting cost.
And a little one thing at the bottom and the 0 on the top.
Yeah,
and
but
that's really cute.
It looks like a Black Lotus. So this is a interesting, clever way for Wizards of the Coast to get around the reserved list, is it not?
It's pretty clever. And do note for the Seb McCann thing, I'll be honest, I'm too tired to talk about it this week. We might discuss it later, but whatever. Either way, Black Lotus is this is cool. I think this is awesome. Like, it's weird. I hate the reserved list, so any way to get around it, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's neat. I'll take it.
I've always kind of wanted to own a Black Lotus, so I'll buy one of these for, what, $80? What do you think?
I haven't the slightest idea what these are worth. If someone knows in the chat, please let me know.
When they come out with a Mox Ruby, I might finally be able to own a Mox Ruby.
Ooh, nice.
There
Your
you go.
namesake. Like it.
All right. The new hotness in gaming this week is Pokemon Legends Arceus, an action role-playing game for the Nintendo Switch. The gotta catch 'em all motif has long worked for the top the top flight AAA title, and it seems like it is continuing for this new one as well. And I think it can work for other IPs too. So tell me, how would you adapt a collectible RPG video game to Magic, Reuben?
Well, Magic players love checkpoints. PTQ pins, pro points, arena ranks, DCI ratings, secondary markets, you name it. You name it, Magic players will numerate it. So I'm ready for Magic's next newest foray into video games to get in on that hoarding mindset. Magic the Gathering, the Gathering.
That's right. Nerd Girl?
All right. Well, I've played a ton of Arceus so far, and I'm loving it. This is the most open world Magic game, Pokemon game I've played so far. It feels more like an MMO, and it reminds me of another grand adventure from Magic. I would love to see Wizards come out with an adventure of the Weatherlight, where you have to collect all of the legacy weapons.
That's right. That'd be fun. Well, Magic had a game where you travel the land, finding random pocket monsters, add them to your collection, and grow in power and prowess as you hone your lineup. And that game is 1997's Chandelar. So I do what Magic does best, do a remaster of an old product by coming out with Chandelar Masters Neon Dynasty.
I honestly, if they made a new Chandelar, it'd be so
Dope.
amazing.
It'd be so
really well received.
If Wizards is going to lean into the memes, you can't meme harder than making a new Chandelar. You can't. It'd be insane. But that also ends the live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Reuben.
Hey, take care of yourself, Evan. And also, thanks, Harley Randy, for the bits that we got right there at the end.
We certainly appreciate it. as we move here to our final slide, I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com and Ultra Sleeves. Use the code MagicMikes at UltraSleeves.com. My co-host, MTG Nerd Girl and Reuben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening, and hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at MagicMikes, on Twitter at MagicMikesCast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.